Hey guys, what's up? It's Joker. I thought I'd go through and run a video about some tips and tricks that some new players in Final Fantasy should do. I think it's an interesting perspective, especially someone like me who's a noob to MMOs, to go through and think, oh, I made these mistakes. Here's some things you can do so you don't follow my footsteps and making mistakes. And I think a good one is this blurb you see here when you log in. It goes achievements. It's really not useful unless you're going after these achievements. This is a good thing to look at and say, hey, what am I close to? And then recommendations is another good tab. I mean, you'll usually see main missions, like where is that, other missions that you can do and are really helpful to do, and also some side quests that are nearby. You can see that in the red. I also probably should go through this blue with a cross. You see, it's a side quest, but they kind of like sometimes they'll unlock things for you, sometimes like a quest, a raid, or something like I think like the Chocobo Flame Seal mount. I think this was also a plus like that. These are really helpful. Sometimes they're not. I tend to like, you tend to know which ones are useful, and then sometimes Google just helps. But these things are like side missions that maybe you should pay attention to more. The red ones down here, these are side missions. Let me just go with here. These red ones, these are the side missions. These are more important ones. And then this is something I probably should have done a long time ago. The Hall of Novice, you unlock this through the main story quest, I think around level 15. This helps you run through your class a bit better. It teaches you some things you should know. So for tank, it would tell you how to pull aggro or stuff like that. But I kind of read this play guide and some other guides. So like, this is another thing. If you're looking to figure out your role a bit better, figure out some stuff in the world, this is where you go to, and maybe you should read before. I definitely, when I was starting out, didn't do it, but as I wanted to know a little better, I did, and there's still more for me to learn about my class and play it better. So yeah, I think also something that people needed to do is the challenge log. This is another one of those blue quests that you get. I think the person is in Limsa Laminsa. To unlock this is another one of these blue ones. It's called Rising to the Challenge. It's a level 15 quest on Limsa Laminsa. This thing's super helpful. I mean, look at this. It resets every week. So you look at this, it's going to reset at 7.6. This gives you a ton of XP, a ton of and some gil. So it's always good in the beginning to start this as fast as possible. I didn't, because it's like one of those blue things. After a while, you see so many of them, you kind of get diluted down, and you really need to look at like which ones are important. This is one of those important ones. The gold saucer, that's also one of those blue quests that's in Ul'dah. It's another one I think is also level 15 you unlock. I unlocked it super early, and I just didn't go there because it just doesn't vibe with me really that much. I really like the main story. So another thing is the Beast Trap quests. This is another one of those blue pluses that you can unlock. And these Beast Trap quests are just like really boring grinds that you can do daily. And if you max out the rank, then you get a mount, so it's good if you want a mount. But honestly, there's nothing really that much about them that like I think is really that important. Player combination, I mean, that's just a general thing in the right. Just give it to someone and you get it here. The Wondrous Tale, that's something you unlock in Heaven's Sword. It's another one of those blue pluses. That is just there. And also not the crafting log. That's a little bit from the hunting log. So you can unlock one that's just the standard hunting log. This is with your class. You get this pretty early on. I think it's unlocked in the first quest you do for say, for example, here the Gladiator Guild. I think it was the first one. They tell you to go kill some random things, and then you unlock this crafting quest. This Immortal Flame one, this comes from, I'm pretty sure, when you join a grand company, they'll give you one. So it's two specific different things, and again, it gives you good rewards. Like these flame seals is kind of boring, you know. After a little bit, if you want to, you can go get these flame seals, and they can give you some cool rewards. And then here, it's like you kill some of these people, hey, you get some XP. So it's another good way of getting XP that, I mean, a lot of people, early on, they're probably wanting to level up as fast as possible. This is another way to level up as fast as possible if that's something you want. Another thing is to, like, watch out for your Chocobo Saddlebag. If you're, like, a hoarder like me, and, like I honestly just hoard because I don't know what's useful. Like, if your bag is filling up, here's a good way to dump 70 in there, and you can buy like a premium expansion to like move it up more. I think it's tied with their mobile app or something like that. Yeah, actually it is. That's a good way. I think another good way to store things is your retainers. This is another of those blue quests. You unlock this in it's a main story quest, like around level 20 or so. It's like when you join the, what are they called, the Signs of the Seventh Dawn for the first time. They're like, hey, sign this paper, and you can get retainers. And it's like, okay, cool. And it's just like, I think I was like going through the story and like kind of zoned out and didn't like pay attention to it, and I did it way later. It's another one of these blue quests. I think it's like you can see through this retainer Voket. It was in one of the main starting cities. This is Ishgard, so it's like you can talk to them and you'll start this quest, and then you can just make a retainer. And these retainers are useful because you can sell stuff. Like, see, she clearly sold stuff, and I got some gil. I mean, like that's a good way. This is a great way, actually. When you're lower level, you're not really going to have many things to sell, but hey, you don't know. I mean, there's some low-level stuff on there that goes for exorbitant price, and I think it's mostly because you see here, like, the venture report. This is also another one of those blue pluses that can pop up, and you need to do in order to put them on the venture quest. Every major city, it's somewhere near your plaza, but specifically Limsa Laminsa, I think I was running around there. And it's in that Aethernet Plaza. There's somebody there will give you the quest. And the quest to unlock ventures is called an ill-conceived venture. It's level 17. You get it shortly after you join. It unlocks when you join the Signs of the Seventh Dawn, like I was talking about. And these ventures, it's kind of interesting. I saw a video about it. So what happens is you send your guy out, or girl, whatever, retainer, because you can customize your retainer too. You assign them a class first, and what I'd recommend and what others are recommending is the class you play as the most, because that's where you're going to get gear for, and anyway, because you can give them gear and stuff like that. So it just makes sense, and that's what I'm talking about. Why lower level gear might be gouged is because, like, oh, some people sold their lower level gear, now they need it for their retainers, or they need it for some other reason. That's why it's getting gouged. I mean, I've seen like the level 1 sword go for like 5,000 gil. It's like, that's kind of ridiculous. Now you look at this, these ventures, they come back, they get XP, and that's for them. They get XP for, so they can level up and do higher ventures. So what happens is, like, they come back, they get an item. Usually it's not good or it's not great, but as you keep going up, the item can be really good, and you can actually sell that item for like a lot of money. So this is a great way. Retainers are a great way to make money. You know, another way is like just as a crafter, crafting things and then putting it up. I mean, like, I'm a weaver right now. I just make random things, and what happens is, you know, people go to their grand company, for example, and they see, oh, I need to deliver blah blah blah. It's like Lenin Garm or something like that. Well, you're not a weaver. So it's like, oh, I can't make something that's like level 20 really quick. I have to go on the board and go buy that. That's why it's helpful to be a crafter. I mean, that's like what I've heard is like the easiest way to make a lot of gil is to get your crafting, like either it's blacksmithing or conjurer, or weaving or what, leather worker. A lot of people getting that up and then making things for either other people or like just making things and throwing them up on the board. That's how you make it. Now here's another thing is like your old gear, you're thinking, oh man, what do I do with this? Should I just sell it for gil? And it's like sometimes that may be worth it. You can also just take a look and see if you can dump it in there for some seals. Not everything is going to be able to be done like this. I'm not really sure. The lowest level I've seen is 15 for me, but I don't know if it's lower. I might have just not had the gear. And then you can come in here and hey, if you're low enough, you can go buy gear if that's what you need. I mean, here's armor. There's also materials if that's something you might need, like any of these materials. I know your chocobo you need to buy from here, but there's a quest for that chocobo. That's like literally after you join the Grand Company, the person's like somewhere around here on the left, or like right here, and then you can just get the seals for the chocobo. So don't really worry too much about that. But yeah, I mean like those are some things that come to mind for me. I mean like also like another thing is to like just you know, look at your thing and like go to recommended gear. I know that might sound crazy. It's like, okay, when you're low level and you're getting a ton of gear, it's like, okay, I know this one's good, this one's good, but like sometimes just clicking this might be a little helpful for you to find what's the best thing to do. And that kind of also brings me up to a point now I'm looking at it, is your soul crystal. Now when you're low, this didn't happen to me, thank God. Actually, yeah, no, it didn't happen to me because I was spamming those class quests big time. When you're around level 30 or so, you're able to unlock a soul crystal. For me, it was Paladin, and I had to go talk to someone named Jinlins. Where you can see this is right here, this confirmed destination on the top left. This is your class quest. It's always going to appear right here. You see, I don't have one because I maxed out my class quest on my Paladin and Samurai, so it's not going to show up for me until I do Stormblood. That's going to unlock that. So right here, it will tell you your class quest. This is also really helpful to do when you're leveling up from 5, 10, 15. Just keep doing it because they give you, 1, they give you good gear, 2, you get XP, and 3, you get closer to actually putting on your big boy pants and putting on a soul crystal, because that's the upgrade of your level. You're basically on training wheels on your original class at Gladiator. You get better skills as you become a Paladin. For example, Clemency, like that's a quest you get way later as a Paladin, and I can now heal myself. Sentinel, this is another one. Sheltrin, that's another one. Divine Veil, that's another one. Holy Spirit, I mean, I can just go on. You get better abilities as you do your class quests, as you get your soul crystal. And then you see up here too, I think it's also, it might seem dumb to especially the people who are playing this, but this tells you what your main quest is. Just clicking it, bam, that's your main quest. That is what a main quest looks like. It's gonna look like this with a little flamey thing on it. That's what your main quest is. I know it gets overwhelming because it was overwhelming for me too when I first joined. All these dots and symbols, it's like, oh, you think you gotta do everything. You don't have to do everything. If you do everything, hey, you're over leveled. That's what happened to me. I got over leveled. I was beating like level 20 main quests, and I was all 35. So I mean, like, don't get overwhelmed because it is kind of overwhelming. I mean, like, look, there's 3 things that pop up. There's this map right here. There's a text box blowing up. There's a lot of things that get overwhelmed, especially as a newer player. That you can get lost in. I mean, I went through some things today. There's a lot more. I mean, you know, PvP, that's also, you have to do a quest to unlock that. I think it's around level 30. You have to unlock PvP through. I think I remember flying Glimpse of Lamosa to do it. PvP is not your thing, that's cool, because here's also the thing is, when you get overwhelmed, you see, ooh, PvP, dungeon, raid, main story quest. What do? What I did is I just main story quests, and honestly that's what you should be doing to at least you hit level 50. You get your first raid, you get the alliance raid, you kind of get a flow for this. And honestly, if you get overwhelmed, just Google it. I think honestly people sometimes when they get overwhelmed, they get too wonky, I guess, for lack of a better term, is they just decide to quit the game or just take a break. That's fine too. But like also just reaching out and looking for help, that's fine. I mean, what I've covered here is, you know, some things people don't really think about. You know, just looking at here is like the HUD layout. It's like, bam, I'm right there. I'm on console, so that's how you get to it. You just go Start, System, HUD. This is something that, you know what, if you want to customize it, your HUD to make it look better, to make it look good for you, this is how you do it. I mean, it's kind of weird on console though. Like, this is something I wanted to move out of the way, my oath bar, because it was kind of blocking my quests. So I moved it down there. It's not like really the best setup, I think, for a lot of people, but I've gotten used to it where I just glance down and say, hey, that's it. You know, just get familiar, just ask someone. I think also, you know, I'm here in the Novice Network. You know, when you're a new player, you join that, just ask someone for help. Also, I think that's a big tip, is just ask for help. Honestly, people are pretty nice about it. Oh, this is a big one. When you go into your inventory, if you see something that's like a whistle or you know, a minion, like a wind up minion, it has minion in this like little area where it said stone, it said minion, click use on that because it clears it out of your inventory. Now some of these orchestral rolls that aren't faded, you can do the same thing too. That would help get you out of, you know, having a glut of inventory. I mean, like, look at all this stuff. I need to organize and get rid of some of this stuff. But also, final point, because I just thought about it, these Vesper Bay tickets, you get them when you're joining the Scions and you're doing some of their missions. They, I think, recently put this out. This is a pro tip, and please remember this, because I didn't. What was good about me is I was in Ul'dah, I did all my stuff in Ul'dah, so it's just like, okay, I'm teleporting back to Ul'dah, this is no problem for me. I made it one of my favorite locations, Horizon, so it wasn't that expensive. I was just boinking back there, but the problem is I'd have to run there. Use these Vesper Bay tickets if you want. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, it's a good way to save money early on. You know, not everybody can go beg for gold or something like that. You can just go here, grab this ticket, click use, and you're right there. You're right there at the Solaire, and you can go in there, and because there's the main story quest. Oh my god, there's so many quests where you have to go to the Vesper Bay. Also, in those patch ones before Heavensward, there are a ton of quests where you have to keep going there. And one last thing, I've seen it in the Novice Network. I've seen it all around when you Google. Man, dude, these post main story quests are so boring. So many of them. Just push through, because Heavensward was so good. It was so worth it. At the end of the day, I think people, I know it's tough to hear, just push through it. The story is there for a reason. I mean, they could have condensed it down a little bit better, but at the end of the day, Heavensward is really good. I can't wait for Stormblood. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. I can't wait, because Heavensward, I think, was so good. I think, honestly, Heavensward was a great reward in doing all those quests, doing all those quests, thinking, man, I'm at the end, and then clicking that quest. I know it's the final quest that I need to do before I unlock Heavensward, and it's like, bam, you have to do this quest line to do the Alliance raid, and it's like, oh, bro, really? I did more quests? But the Alliance raid is a joke. Honestly, it took like an hour for me to do all 3 of them. You can skip those cutscenes if you want. I mean, I did, because there was a ton of exposition in there on that quest line. Like, it was getting ridiculous. Like, I think the cutscenes were like an hour by themselves. It was kind of ridiculous. So yeah, just one final tip, just keep pushing through. Yeah, so yeah, that's the video. You know, there's a lot of things. You know, if you're a veteran, you watch this, post something you think noobs should know. You know, I'm a noob at the end of the day to MMOs. There's a lot of things that go into my mind and just don't come out. So yeah, and also leave a like, subscribe, it really helps out the channel, and yeah, I'll see you later. Bye.